Hello, and thank you for joining us for the interview sessions today. Can you please let us know about your role in Opel?
So I'm responsible at Opel for product and pricing. That means all the non-technical development work, definition of our cars, and then unfortunately also the price positioning of our cars, a topic that is obviously heavily debated with our dealer partners and customers.
Okay, so let's dive in the subject regarding pricing. Tell us please, which are the most important criteria for establishing a model's price?
So in order to establish a model successfully in the marketplace, we of course take a look at the competition, at the customers that we want to attract, and at the same time at the economics of the vehicle, because we're a business and we need to find that sweet spot where it's beneficial to us and beneficial to the customers.
Okay, now let's dive in an interesting subject regarding families with your top 3 Opel models for families.
Well, it depends a little bit on the size of your family and of course your personal preferences, but there is an Opel for almost any family. So number 1, if you're looking for a good family car that works for the everyday, that you can put 4 or 5 people in and lots of luggage, the new Frontera, launching end of this year, will be perfect for families, especially also in our southern European markets, with families that have up to 4 kids, for example, because we will have a 7-seater version of it available. If you want to upgrade in terms of quality, feel, modern German features, high-tech, then the new Opel Grandland will be your choice. And if you really have a big family, then an Opel Combo will be your car of choice because that's really robust and can carry a lot of luggage and a lot of little things that your kids might bring along for the trip.
So we have interesting choices in the Opel family.
Definitely, yes.
And now how do you see the approach of young couples, families, young families, older families, and older generations regarding the Opel products?
Well, I guess all of us know stories of families and couples. At first, when you're young, you're in love, you do road trips. You don't need all that luggage space. Your car needs to look good, makes you feel good. So like an Opel Mokka, for example, is something that you take along on trips. As you grow as a family, of course, then the car has to fulfill more practical needs. Yeah, maybe some of the guys will put their ego aside and go for something that works every day rather than something that's super fun every day. And what we're trying to do is really to also make it quite fun to drive an Opel, even though you're carrying 2, 3 screaming kids or your family along on a long trip. And then as you get the kids a little bit older, maybe you go a bit more sporty again, maybe an Astra, maybe a GSE version. And then when the kids are out of the house, it always feels like, couples and families go through this transition where the older they get, the more independent they become again, and the more emotional their choices become again, or the more futuristic their interest is again. So there's a bunch of 60, 70-year-olds, at least in my circle of family and friends, who now go electric, who try new things, something that many families are still too busy to even consider. Yeah. So it's quite interesting. And as a brand that is upper mainstream, but that's for all the people, we certainly want to make sure that we cater to younger couples, families, and then also the empty nesters that only have the occasional grandchildren maybe joining.
Maybe with a coupe?
Maybe with a coupe, or at least a reinvention of that. So that's the interesting part about portfolio planning in the car industry, and obviously also at Opel, where we're really trying to cover a majority of the market. But of course, you want to push it to where it gets interesting, because it's not just your average car. Yeah, it's not just what everybody else is driving. So you need to find that balance, much like on pricing, that you have an interesting car, but that still gets the job done when needed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.